I am looking for an honest man. It is not that I am mad, it is only that my reality is different from yours. The foundation of every state is the education of its youth. I would rather be a beggar than a slave. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. He has the most who is most content with the least. I can teach you a lesson, but I can't make you think. The sun, too, shines into cesspools and is not least diminished. Even if I am a dog, I still have a right to bark. Dogs and philosophers do the greatest harm by recommending the best. A wise man is a man who listens. Of all the possessions you might have, the best is a good friend. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. The wise man is indifferent to external goods. The essence of freedom is to be self-sufficient. I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world. One man's trash is another man's treasure. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. There is no way to happiness, happiness is the way. He who is not a slave to his desires is a free man. Wisdom begins in wonder. The art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. Life is nothing but a game, play it wisely. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. Fame is a vapor, popularity an accident, riches take wings, those who cheer today will curse tomorrow. The greatest riches are to live content with little. Happiness is a state of mind. I do not have much, but I have enough. Let me be a friend to myself. It is not the material wealth that counts, but the wealth of spirit. True beauty lies in simplicity. Life without experience and sufferings is not life. The unexamined life is not worth living. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. I am more powerful than my circumstances. Be your own master. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. What is necessary is easy, what is easy is seldom valuable. I am my own refuge. Live simply, so that others may simply live. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Know thyself. Freedom is the only way to happiness. It is better to be a beggar than to be in debt. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Sometimes you have to be a lion to be a lamb. Actions speak louder than words. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Think for yourself. To find yourself, think for yourself. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. He who fears he will suffer, already suffers because he fears. Your freedom ends where my nose begins. Sometimes the questions are complicated, and the answers are simple. Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. What we think, we become. If you want to know the value of money, go try to borrow some. There is no wealth like knowledge, no poverty like ignorance. You are what you think. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Doubt is the key to knowledge. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. To love and be loved is to feel the sun from both sides. Happiness depends upon ourselves. A friend is someone who knows all about you and still loves you. The truth is always in simplicity. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. Life is a journey, not a destination. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The best revenge is massive success. The mind is everything. What you think you become. Opportunities don't happen, you create them. You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking. Change your thoughts and you change your world. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and the world remains and is immortal. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. Believe you can and you're halfway there. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Dream big and dare to fail. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. To succeed in life, you need 3 things: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. All things are one. Love is the bond of all things. Strife is the force of separation. Nothing comes into being from what is not. The cosmos is a cycle of birth and death. We are all but a reflection of the cosmos. True wisdom is knowing the interconnectedness of all. The one is not separate from the many. Everything is composed of 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Change is the only constant in the universe. To know the essence of things is to know their unity. The soul is immortal and eternal. In love, we find our true selves. The body is a temporary vessel for the soul. All beings share the same cosmic origin. The universe is alive and breathing. What is different is also similar. From unity springs diversity. True happiness is to enjoy the present. Life is a journey of the soul through various forms. Wisdom is the light that guides us. The heart is the seat of love. Each element is a source of life and death. Nature reflects the divine order. The stars are the souls of the departed. In every leaf, the cosmos is present. Knowledge is a journey, not a destination. What we perceive shapes our understanding. The essence of things is hidden from the eye. Everything flows from one source. Where there is love, life flourishes. The art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. Life without experience is not life. Happiness is a state of mind. The mind is the source of all knowledge. In change, we find opportunity. The unexamined life is not worth living. True fulfillment comes from nurturing the soul. Each soul is a unique expression of the universe. We are what we think. Death is the end of the body, but the soul is immortal. Love and strife are the two great forces. The elements exist in a constant dance. Harmony arises from the balance of elements. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubts of today. Seek knowledge to find your place in the cosmos. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. To find yourself, think for yourself. The cosmos is shaped by elemental forces. The wise man sees the world as a single organism. True beauty lies in simplicity. The truth is often hidden in simplicity. Live simply, so that others may simply live. In every heartbeat, life unfolds. Life is a fleeting moment in eternity. Every moment is a gift. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. Actions speak louder than words. Freedom is the only way to happiness. What is necessary is easy. What is easy is seldom valuable. Wisdom begins in wonder. The mind is everything. What you think you become. The art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. To know the essence of things is to know their unity. Even if I am a dog, I still have a right to bark. Life's challenges are opportunities for growth. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The best revenge is massive success. Believe you can and you're halfway there. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Dream big and dare to fail. Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking. Change your thoughts and you change your world. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. What we think, we become. Happiness depends upon ourselves. The truth is always in simplicity. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. Life without experience and sufferings is not life. True beauty lies in simplicity. I can teach you a lesson, but I can't make you think. He who is not a slave to his desires is a free man. To know the essence of things is to know their unity. The foundation of every state is the education of its youth. From unity springs diversity. What is necessary is easy, what is easy is seldom valuable. The universe is a single, living organism. Life is a journey, not a destination. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Happiness depends upon ourselves. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. To avoid criticism, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Change is the only constant in life. In all things of nature, there is something of the marvelous. What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. The greatest virtues are those which are most useful to other persons. A friend to all is a friend to none. What we learn to do, we learn by doing. It is not enough to win a war, it is more important to organize the peace. The good for men is an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. The law is reason free from passion. All human beings, by nature, desire to know. The mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain a thought without accepting it. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. Hope is a waking dream. There is no genius without a touch of madness. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. To perceive is to suffer. Time crumbles things, everything grows old. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. A tyrant must put on the appearance of uncommon devotion to religion. He who is to be a good ruler must be a good man. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Wit is educated insolence. The good for men is an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. All men by nature desire to know. The unexamined life is not worth living. Man is by nature a social animal. It is not enough to win a war, it is more important to organize the peace. Nature does nothing in vain. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. A great man is one who can make others feel great. Life, according to Aristotle, is a journey, not a destination. Education is the best provision for old age. Injustice, though it may be detected, can never be suppressed. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. All human beings, by nature, desire to know. The greatest virtues are those which are most useful to other persons. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. Friendship is a single soul dwelling in two bodies. We become just by performing just actions. Good habits formed at youth make all the difference. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. A man is a being that cannot live alone. The law is reason free from passion. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. Nature does nothing in vain. He who is to be a good ruler must be a good man. To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. The essence of life is to seek knowledge. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Life is a series of choices, and the choices we make shape our destinies. Character may almost be called the most effective means of persuasion. Those who know do, those that understand teach. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. To be a good man, one must have the capacity to love. Time crumbles things, everything grows old. The soul never thinks without a picture. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Man is the measure of all things. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. All things are full of the gods. Philosophy begins in wonder. Men acquire a particular quality by constantly acting in a particular way. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. In everything, balance is key. The more we know, the more we realize we don't know. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. In the end, it is the people we touch who truly matter. He who is to be a good ruler must be a good man. All human beings, by nature, desire to know. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Happiness is a state of activity. We are what we repeatedly do. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The unexamined life is not worth living. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. What we learn to do, we learn by doing. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. Friendship is a single soul dwelling in two bodies. All human beings, by nature, desire to know. To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. The unexamined life is not worth living. Knowledge is the food of the soul. Justice means minding your own business and not meddling with other men's concerns. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark, The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. Courage is knowing what not to fear. The first and best victory is to conquer self. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Philosophy begins in wonder. Love is a serious mental disease. We do not learn, and what we call learning is only a process of recollection. Only the dead have seen the end of war. You can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound. To find yourself, think for yourself. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. Those who tell the stories also hold the power. In justice is found the happiness of the soul. No one is a friend to his friend who does not share in his happiness. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future in life. What is honored in a country will be cultivated there. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. The soul takes nothing with her to the next world but her education and her actions. The greatest blessing of mankind is that we have a choice. Reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. Knowledge becomes evil if the aim be not virtuous. Our greatest blessings come to us by way of madness, provided the madness is given us by divine gift. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. The just man is not the one who has the power to do evil but the one who chooses to do good. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. Knowledge is the only good, and ignorance is the only evil. Those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed, by the masses. The price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Time is a created thing. To say, "I don't have time," is like saying, "I don't want to." The measure of a man is what he does with power. A man should be upright, not be kept upright. We are twice armed if we fight with faith. It is only the dead who have seen the end of war. The idea of a just society is not just a political concept, but a way of life. A hero is born among 100, a wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. We do not learn, and what we call learning is only a process of recollection. The true philosopher is a lover of wisdom. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Love is the pursuit of the whole. No man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to persevere to the end in their nurture and education. In every human act, there is a relationship between the means and the ends. The price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. The greatest error of all is to be blind to the light. To be is to do. To do is to be. To be is to do. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. The soul is like a chariot with 2 horses, one good and one bad. The greatest blessings come to us by way of madness. Rhetoric is the art of ruling the minds of men. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Courage is knowing what not to fear. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. A friend is one soul dwelling in 2 bodies. The philosopher is a lover of wisdom. Those who tell the stories also hold the power. Reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. He who knows only his own side of the case knows little of that. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Education is the best provision for old age. The law is reason free from passion. Time is a created thing. To say, "I don't have time," is like saying, "I don't want to." The greatest wealth is to live content with little. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. What we learn to do, we learn by doing. No one is a friend to his friend who does not share in his happiness. Justice means minding your own business and not meddling with other men's concerns. Philosophy begins in wonder. The soul takes nothing with her to the next world but her education and her actions. To find yourself, think for yourself. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. All human beings, by nature, desire to know. A friend is one soul dwelling in 2 bodies. Injustice, though it may be detected, can never be suppressed. Knowledge is the food of the soul. A man should be upright, not be kept upright. He who is to be a good ruler must be a good man. The essence of life is to seek knowledge. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Time is a created thing. To say, "I don't have time," is like saying, "I don't want to." Courage is knowing what not to fear. The unexamined life is not worth living. Reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. To be is to do. Love is the pursuit of the whole. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Pleasure is the highest good. It is not what we have but what we enjoy that constitutes our abundance. The art of living well is the art of knowing how to enjoy the simple things. He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing. Death is not to be feared, for it is simply the absence of sensation. We should look for someone to eat and drink with before looking for something to eat and drink. Friendship is the most important thing in life. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If you wish to be rich, do not add to your money, but subtract from your desire. The wise man does not lay up his own treasure. The more he gives to others, the more he has for himself. The greatest fruits of self-sufficiency are a tranquil mind. Happiness is the result of living a life of moderation. The man who is not afraid of death is not afraid of life. All things in moderation. The only way to live a good life is to be free from fear and desire. It is not enough to win a war, it is more important to organize the peace. Pleasure is the beginning and the end of a happy life. The greatest pleasure is to have no pleasure. Do not let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Live a life of virtue, and you will find happiness. The goal of life is living in agreement with nature. He who has everything he wants is poor. We do not fear death, but rather the fear of the unknown. A good life is one that is lived in accordance with reason. It is better to be unhappy in freedom than to be happy in slavery. We must strive to be independent of others for our happiness. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. The man who is afraid of death is like a man who is afraid to live. Live in the moment, it is all we truly have. Pleasure is the greatest good, but wisdom is the greatest pleasure. Desire is the root of all suffering. The wise man finds pleasure in what he has, not in what he lacks. To be rich is not to have a lot of money, but to be satisfied with what you have. Suffering is the result of unmet desires. A life without pleasure is not worth living. The greatest pleasure is the absence of pain. Pleasure can be found in the simple things of life. Cultivate friendship, for it is the source of happiness. To seek pleasure is to seek wisdom. Life is too short to waste on trivial pursuits. He who knows how to live has learned the secret of happiness. Moderation in all things brings peace of mind. True wealth is the ability to enjoy what you have. The best things in life are not things. Live as if you will die tomorrow, learn as if you will live forever. Pleasure is the essence of life. Freedom from fear is the foundation of happiness. He who enjoys the present moment is truly rich. Happiness comes from within, not from external circumstances. Friendship is a treasure that brings joy to the soul. Live a life of purpose, and happiness will follow. Seek knowledge, for it is the key to true happiness. A life of moderation is a life well lived. True pleasure comes from a life of virtue. Contentment is the key to happiness. The wise man understands the limits of desire. Pleasure is the natural state of man. Do not be a slave to your desires. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. He who has no desires has no fears. Find joy in the little things. The pursuit of happiness is a lifelong journey. Freedom is the ultimate source of happiness. Live with intention and purpose. He who is content is truly rich. Embrace the present moment, it is all we have. Knowledge is the path to true pleasure. Live according to your own values. The wise man is not disturbed by external events. True happiness comes from within. To seek pleasure is to seek knowledge. Be mindful of your desires. A tranquil mind is the source of happiness. Life is a balance of pleasure and pain. Live simply, so that others may simply live. True wealth lies in contentment. He who understands pleasure understands life. Seek pleasure, but not at the expense of virtue. Happiness is found in the acceptance of life as it is. Cultivate a peaceful mind for a happy life. The greatest pleasure comes from the pursuit of knowledge. A good life is one that is lived in harmony with nature. He who is not afraid of death is truly free. Happiness is not a destination but a way of life. Freedom from desire is true wealth. Contentment is the key to a happy life. Live life fully, and embrace each moment. The wise man enjoys the present without worrying about the future. True happiness is found in friendship and community. A life of virtue leads to true pleasure. Seek to understand the world, and you will find happiness. Pleasure is the greatest good, but wisdom is the greatest pleasure. Life is a journey, enjoy each step along the way. The greatest treasures are found within. A tranquil mind is the key to happiness. Embrace the simple pleasures of life. Find joy in the present moment. A life well lived is a life filled with pleasure. Seek knowledge, for it is the path to true happiness. Numbers are the essence of all things. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Do not say a little in many words but a great deal in a few. Wisdom begins in wonder. There is geometry in the humming of the strings. All is number. The most important thing is to understand the unity of all things. A good friend is like a shadow. Let no one who is not a mathematician enter here. As soon as anyone starts to talk about philosophy, they must be careful to keep their thoughts in harmony. Silence is better than unmeaning words. Time is the soul of this world. Harmony is the beauty of form. We ought to be aware of our own inner light. The soul is the master of the body. Education is the best provision for old age. Change your thoughts and you change your world. It is better to be wrong than to remain silent. The highest good is harmony. Friendship is the harmony of souls. The universe is a symphony of melodies. The beginning of wisdom is to call things by their right names. Rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they will. The man who is in harmony with himself is in harmony with the universe. Seek the essence of things. To be rich is not to have great possessions, but to be satisfied with what you have. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. All good things are harmonious. In harmony, there is strength. There is nothing more powerful than a well-ordered mind. The wise man is the one who knows that he knows nothing. A sound mind in a sound body. The greatest virtues are those which are most useful to others. Everything is arranged in a beautiful order. Listen to the silence, it has much to say. Numbers are the universal language. The essence of knowledge is self-knowledge. Life is a journey of self-discovery. Mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. To know the world, one must first know oneself. Cultivate the mind, for it is the source of all knowledge. Wisdom is the key to happiness. The soul is immortal and goes through many cycles. Strive for balance in all things. In everything, moderation is key. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. The essence of all knowledge is the understanding of oneself. To find peace, one must first find harmony within. Numbers are the building blocks of the universe. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The measure of a man is what he does with power. The beauty of the world is in its harmony. Mathematics is the foundation of all sciences. The wise man speaks because he has something to say. The fool speaks because he has to say something. He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. A friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you. The soul is like a musical instrument, it must be tuned to harmony. Do not be afraid to seek knowledge. In all things, strive for harmony. Your life is a reflection of your thoughts. True wealth lies in the richness of the mind. Beauty is the harmony of nature. Cultivate love and friendship, they are the true treasures of life. The wise man learns more from his enemies than the fool does from his friends. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Your beliefs shape your reality. To live well is to think well. In harmony, there is beauty. Seek knowledge, for it is the key to a fulfilled life. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." Your thoughts create your destiny. The greatest treasures are those found within. Live in accordance with your true nature. To learn is to change. Time is the most precious resource. Your inner thoughts shape your outer world. Mathematics reveals the beauty of the universe. Happiness comes from understanding the self. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. True happiness comes from living in accordance with nature. In all things, seek the essence. The true measure of a person is how they treat those who are not in a position to help them. All great things are simple. Live each day as if it were your last. What you think, you become. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. The soul's desire is for knowledge. True knowledge is knowing that you know nothing. Life is a dance, let it flow. Harmony is the essence of life. He who does not understand your silence will probably not understand your words. In the end, it is not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Wisdom is the daughter of experience. Seek the truth, and the truth shall set you free. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Your thoughts are your reality. Live simply, dream big. The universe is a reflection of the soul. The unexamined life is not worth living. I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing. To find yourself, think for yourself. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. An unexamined life is one not worth living. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. He is rich who is content. Wisdom begins in wonder. Let him who would move the world first move himself. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be who we pretend to be. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when thou art in, continue firm and constant. The hardest thing in life is to know which bridge to cross and which to burn. Know thyself. Regard your friends as you do your best pictures, for it is the law of nature that the better they are, the fewer they will be. We cannot live better than in seeking to become better. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Do not do to others what angers you if done to you. There is no greater evil than the lack of knowledge. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. It is not living that matters, but living rightly. Virtue is not given by money, but money is a consequence of virtue. All human beings, by nature, desire to know. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Envy is the daughter of pride. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. The greatest blessing granted to mankind comes by way of madness. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Do not be ashamed to ask for help. Your silence gives consent. To be is to do. The only good is knowledge and the only evil is ignorance. It is better to change an opinion than to hold it. Fame is the perfume of heroic deeds. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. We cannot teach people anything, we can only help them discover it within themselves. The unexamined life is not worth living. Pursue excellence, and success will follow. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. One thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. Courage is knowing what not to fear. The unexamined life is one not worth living. No man is free who is not a master of himself. We must pursue the good, and we will find happiness. One who is wise will be neither joyful nor sorrowful. Happiness is the highest good. Life without a purpose is a life without meaning. He who knows others is wise, he who knows himself is enlightened. To know what is right and not do it is the worst cowardice. We are all made for love. It is the first principle of existence. There is nothing so easy but that it becomes difficult when you do it reluctantly. It is better to suffer wrong than to do wrong. There is no greater good than the good of the soul. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. A man is a product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. He who would be a philosopher must learn to love the truth. The highest form of happiness is a life of virtue. Happiness depends upon ourselves. He who has no enemies is not a true friend. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Happiness is not a destination, it is a way of life. The greatest blessings of mankind are within us. He who learns but does not think, is lost. Your character is your destiny. Courage is knowing what not to fear. The mind is a precious gift. Socrates is my friend, but truth is a greater friend. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Education is the key to unlocking the golden door of freedom. Do not waste time on what you cannot control. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. True love is an act of selflessness. He who is not afraid of death has nothing to fear. And education is the best provision for old age. To find out about others, you must first find out about yourself. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Your character is what you do when no one is watching. The greatest virtue is to know the good. A life well lived is a life of virtue. Virtue is not a gift but a reward for our own actions. Know thyself, it is the beginning of wisdom. It is not enough to win a war, it is more important to organize the peace. You should not do anything that you would not want to be done to you. Happiness is the highest good. The greatest challenge in life is to know yourself. The only thing we have to fear is the fear itself. A wise man learns more from his enemies than a fool from his friends. A man who is a master of himself is a master of others. The greatest wisdom is to know what you do not know. We are all in this together. The greatest gift you can give someone is your time. A friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you. What we achieve inwardly will change outer reality. The measure of a man is what he does with power. To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. You cannot step into the same river twice. Change is the only constant in life. Strife is justice. Everything flows. Character is destiny. War is the father of all things. The road up and the road down are one and the same. No man ever steps in the same river twice. All things are in flux. The sun is new each day. Opposition brings concord. It is in changing that we find purpose. The only thing that is permanent is change. A man's character is his fate. Listen not to the outward voice, but to the inward. Life is an endless struggle. The harmony of the world is like a bow and a lyre. What is wanted is a law of the whole. The way up and the way down are one and the same. All things come into being by conflict of opposites. We are most nearly ourselves when we achieve the seriousness of the child at play. To be is to be in relation. Fire is the most basic element. The cosmos is a living being. What is known is limited, what is unknown is vast. Eyes and ears are poor witnesses. The sun will not rise if we do not bring it forth. God is day and night, winter and summer, war and peace. A person is what he does. It is not good for men to be alone. Nothing endures but change. There is nothing permanent except change. The Logos is the underlying order of the universe. Every being is a unity of opposites. Men are deceived by the senses. The way of the world is to be indifferent to it. You cannot understand the world without understanding yourself. All things are one. You must obey the law of your own nature. The heart of a man is the measure of his life. Wisdom is the understanding of the relationship between opposites. A dry soul is a wise soul. Fire is the source of all things. The foundation of all things is change. What we think is real is only a reflection. Strife is the source of all things. The unseen harmony is better than the visible. To understand is to agree. The wise man is one who knows that he knows nothing. You cannot find peace by avoiding life. Reality is a dance of opposites. There is no single truth, there are only perspectives. Life is a flame that is constantly flickering. Unity is found in diversity. The world is a process, not a product. All beings are interconnected. The essence of life is struggle. Everything is in constant motion. Harmony arises from conflict. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Wisdom is knowing when to act and when to refrain. You are what you seek. All things change, nothing remains the same. The nature of reality is complex. Everything has its own nature. You must understand the present to comprehend the future. Nothing is independent, everything is related. Time is a measure of change. The wise man knows the limits of his knowledge. Peace is the result of understanding. The cosmos is a single entity. Chaos is the precursor to order. The journey is the destination. Suffering is part of life. Life is a process of becoming. Wisdom is the recognition of the unity of all things. Truth is often hidden in contradictions. The world is a reflection of our thoughts. Life is like a river, it flows in one direction. Balance is the key to harmony. The wise man embraces change. There is beauty in impermanence. Conflict is necessary for growth. The journey toward understanding is lifelong. All beings are in a constant state of flux. The nature of reality is paradoxical. Everything is connected, nothing exists in isolation. The cosmos is an evolving organism. Wisdom comes from experience. The world is a stage for the unfolding of the soul. We learn more from our mistakes than from our successes. The only constant is change. To know oneself is to know the universe. Life is a cycle of birth and rebirth. Harmony is found in the interplay of opposites. The essence of life is transformation. You must confront the unknown to grow. In every change, there is a hidden opportunity. The nature of reality is fluid and dynamic. Embrace the journey, for it is the essence of life.